Hi, my name is Hector, and my persuasive speech is titled How Mycorrhizae Can Restore Modern Agriculture. So, every year, farmers lose billions of dollars due to depleted soil, drought, and fertilizer runoff that pollutes our waterways. Agriculture feeds the world, but modern farming practices are slowly damaging the soil, and in turn it messes with our food production that we extremely depend on. Mycorrhizae are a beneficial fungi that form symbiotic relationships with the plant's roots and offer a natural, practical solution to ultimately restore soil health. Today, I will explain the problem modern agriculture faces, the causes behind it, and how mycorrhizae can provide an effective solution. Um, modern, so the problem is soil degradation and rising agricultural costs. Modern agriculture relies heavily on synthetic fertilizers, big machines, intensive irrigation, and overall soil disruptive practices. Now, these methods they degrade the soil structure, which is probably one of the biggest problems that we have. They in turn destroy beneficial microorganisms and reduce nutrient retention. Now, the plants aren't able to get their nutrients from this slowly degrading soil. That in turn affects us as the consumer in the long run because things might end up going up in price, or we're not getting the quality and quantity in the vegetables and other produce that we purchase at our grocery stores. It results in higher costs for farmers, polluted water systems, weaker crops, and reduced quality. Because of this, this creates a disruptive farming practice. This creates disruptive farming practices, and one of them is heavy tilling. Now, heavy tilling is when you're just interfering with the soil, and in the soil, there's already a lot of microbiology. Um, so, interfering with that soil disrupts and potentially destroys the living soil or microbiology in the soil. So heavy tilling breaks apart soil structure and eliminates microbial life. Monocropping, which is basically growing fields of the same crop, like corn or coffee, etc. And monocropping, fungicides, and synthetic fertilizers also destroy naturally occurring mycorrhizal, mycorrhizae fungi. Um, the mycorrhizae fungi thrives in natural environments, untouched, just basically what the earth was intended to do. Um, these uh, these synthetic fertilizers ruins the balance, completely disrupts that, and sometimes can kill your living soil. The solution really is raising the awareness of mycorrhizae, and because the awareness, and with that raise in awareness, we're able to integrate mycorrhizae into agriculture. Mycorrhizae forms a symbiotic relationship with plant roots by exchanging nutrients and waters for plant sugars. So they create like a barter system, and the plants produces minerals and sugars and other things that the mycorrhizae thrives off of. So the mycorrhizae has this ability to search for those nutrients in the soil, and because they're able to make networks with the roots, they're able to trade the nutrients in the soil for the sugars that the plants produce. So that's what it means by symbiotic. And mycorrhizae, there's really two types. There's endo and ecto. And endo would be tree roots, plant roots, grass roots, whereas ecto mycorrhizae would be, for the most part, specifically tree roots. Now, Scientific American explains that plants communicate chemically with mycorrhizae, allowing fungi to locate the roots. Now, this is an interesting thing because of how naturally occurring it is, and the phenomenon that these plants have. You almost, because they're plants, we don't really personify them or see them as anything other than plants, but really they, I wouldn't say have a consciousness, but in the way that they're operating, it's almost as if they do have a consciousness. And so these the plants have signals that get sent out to the mycorrhizae, and the mycorrhizae is able to pick that up, and they respond to those signals by approaching the plant's roots. So it's almost like these plants are asking for assistance from the mycorrhizae. And it's a beautiful thing because all this is happening right beneath our feet. So really this brings us back to the problem of us simply getting in the way of nature and not using nature's tools to in turn help us enjoy our vegetables, for example. So these fungal networks expand the effective root system, improving nutrient uptake, drought resistance, and disease resilience. Mycorrhizae can be applied through powders, granules, or seed inoculants without replacing existing farming systems. So there are farms that do implement using mycorrhizae and mycorrhizae inoculants, but this is more so like on a lower scale. And in a bigger scale, right, there's already a system that agriculture uses to be able to produce our food. And simply implementing these practices, like using mycorrhizae in whether it's in soil or dusting seeds with mycorrhizae, this in turn can make, in the long run, make a far more efficient gardening system and uh, agricultural system without really disrupting anything. I mean, the biggest things that would probably have to take place is just not interfering with the soil, whereas where like for example using synthetic fertilizers or big machinery to till the soil. Um, Widespread. Oh, and so I have an example here of a mycorrhizae inoculant. It's called Great White, and this product right here, you can use to pour into the top layer of your soil, or you can mix with the soil, or plant when you're transplanting, for example, dust the mycorrhizae onto the roots. Now, this particular mycorrhizae here is that's loaded with bacteria. I think only endomycorrhizae, but comes in a powder form. So you can see it sort of like a fluffy sand, like yeah, it's fluffy sand. It has like a it almost smells like stale cereal, but yes, Great White mycorrhizae is a product that a lot of gardeners use to help create stronger roots, bigger roots, um, resulting in better plants and bigger harvests. So widespread adoption can reduce fertilizer dependence, lower pollution, and improve global security. So, like I was saying earlier, that 50% of the fertilizers don't get used and end up getting washed into our water, which in turn pollutes our waters with these synthetic fertilizers. Using stuff like great white mycorrhizae inoculants, root inoculants, can take away the use completely, entirely of synthetic fertilizers. So it's a good tool to use. Um, so synthetic fertilizers are expensive and inefficient, and according to the USDA, nearly so according to, like I expressed, according to the USDA, 50% of the applied fertilizer never reaches the plant. So um, this affects everyone in terms of soil degradation, and in turn, it leads to lower yields, less nutritious foods, and crops that fail faster during drought. This in turn affects the food prices, water quality, and long term food security worldwide, not just for farmers, for us, because we're the ones really benefiting off of them. And yeah, so just implementing this mycorrhizae really will help us a long way, and it's coming back to our roots, back to nature, because all this magic that happens with agriculture um, really is a naturally occurring thing, right? We as humans are just able to aid that. Um, but of course, we kind of have the tendency to get in the way of ourselves and start creating these systems that we think are beneficial, but in the long term are not. And it's really a matter of just tapping back into our roots, literally, and using the tools that nature already provides. So, in conclusion, modern agriculture faces serious challenges, including that include degraded soil, rising costs, and diminishing returns. Mycorrhizae provides a proven natural solution rooted in biology rather than in chemicals. So just tapping back into nature. And by restoring underground soil systems, agriculture can become more sustainable for future generations. So this would be a level up to how we operate in the agricultural industry. And this is really not some kind of like overnight change the world idea. This is a real thing that occurs right beneath our feet, and that's really the greatest surprise of it all. So that is my speech. I hope that you're able to take something from it, and that maybe you can one day start using Great White and other mycorrhizae products in your garden, in your gardens. Thank you.